Ready. Play.
It's out wide serve, backhand in play from Zheng, forehand put away, cross court from Sabalenka. She's got her hands in the air. And
she's done it.
She's won a second Australian Open title. She's blowing kisses to her box.
Aryna Sabalenka, 2-time Grand Slam champion. And who was the last person to win back-to-back Australian Open titles? But her Belarusian sister, Miss Vika Azarenka.
Ah, there you go. Her compatriot. Yeah, 2012, 2013.
Yeah.
Wow. 2-time Grand Slam champion. Feels like this should have been. She should have had 2 Grand Slams from a while ago, but it's here now.
Replicating as well Naomi Osaka's feat of winning back-to-back slams in the US and Australia. Oh, no, because she didn't win the US.
She didn't win the US.
Oh, dear.
What universe are you living in, John?
Yeah. I'm in a universe where she probably should have won that US Open final.
What a team. Hugging the team.
Yeah. Look, let's face it, Sabalenka was by far and away the best player of the entire tournament. Was not threatened by anyone really.
I mean, I know we put up some stats about not many games lost on winning, but actually, who was the last person to win a slam without dropping a set?
It was Ash Barty in 2022 Australian Open.
Oh, she didn't lose a set?
No.
Oh, wow, okay. She should have lost a set in that final to Daniel Collins. Collins was either up a double break or something like
that. Something like that, and then it went to a tie break.
I mean, you could also say the same thing about Aryna this year. Like, she first set to Coco.
Yeah, well, Coco was serving for it, 30-love, first set.
Although she was up in that set as well. So that first set was a little bit of a mess with Coco. That was probably the point where she was really tested this tournament.
It was a great set. It's the set that won her the title, you could argue,
Yeah, because it would have changed. Yeah, I mean, I feel like she probably would have fought back against Coco maybe in that match. But
maybe.
I think this match, what's made the difference for me, as we see them putting the name in the trophy, the Daphne Akhurst Memorial Trophy,
which I didn't even know the name of until about 2 hours ago when we began the stream and you called it, Nick. That I was like, it's the what trophy?
No.
Daphne Akhurst won 5 Australian Opens in the 1920s, 30s.
Do you think they're going to name the Birmingham Trophy after you, Nick?
No, it's already got a name. It's already got a name.
Oh, has it? Do you know the name for the Birmingham Trophy?
Not off the top of my head.
I was going to say that would be incredible.
Not the top of my head.
It's the WTA 250 in Birmingham that Nick and Jamie went to last year.
I mean, you're mentioning it way more than I am at the minute.
I know. Yeah. I'm pushing the narrative.
Yeah. Keep pushing it, John.
It's like Vanch is bigging up Krejcikova all the time just because she won San Diego, which is his hometown. Anyway, I mean, that match, that performance, the scoreline sort of, I think it wasn't exactly the same, but I remember the semi-final that Sabalenka had against Magda Linette last year. I mean, this semi-final and final thing that has been mentioned a lot with Aryna. I mean, she's just come up against awesome players at times. I'm seeing the word awesome from Jacob. I mean, you come up against Iga Swiatek in a semi-final and you lose in 3 sets. And that was a great match, by the way, that US Open semi-final. Yeah. It can happen. Look at her there celebrating.
Or even when she came up against Layla, I feel like she was on a tear there. So
Layla was 3 sets as well, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it was. Yeah.
The Mukova one is the sort of one when she was close to the finish line. I still don't know if the Mukova one was a lack of concentration or whether it was anxiety of being close to the finish line.
There was a lot going on during the French Open with the questions regarding, Russia and Ukraine. And she stopped going to press, I believe. And there were a couple matches where she had Qinwen Zheng crying there. I don't think she should feel too bad about this performance. I mean, what happened to her just happened to everyone Aryna came up in this tournament. They just got blown away. So I don't think she should feel too bad. But regarding the French Open, there were some matches where Aryna was streaky. So her losing the semi, I wasn't like.
It's also maybe going to be the hardest one for her to win. I mean,
Yes.
Nick, what do you think? Yeah,
it is. Yeah, it doesn't. The slower clay. She's a better player than she was, so she can live with the pace. But someone who is, she can't bludgeon her opponents in the same way as on these faster courts like hard and grass.
Yeah, or Madrid. Madrid is sort of an outlier, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's that weird combo
or something.
Even then, she wasn't hitting. She wasn't able to hit Swiatek off the court, and that's partly due to Swiatek's defenses. But
and Swiatek's movement on clay.
So I don't. It's going to be hard for her to win. But she came pretty close to making the final last year. It's doable, provided that Swiatek has a bad year.
Yeah, Gene here saying he's happy for Saba. Yeah, I mean, listen, I was a neutral observer. I was hoping to get 3 sets, and there was the inflection point really of the match at 2-love. So I think she was a bit anxious at the beginning, Qinwen. I mean, she lost, I think, maybe something like 8 of the first 9 points. But then she did manage to settle in that third game when she garnered 3 breakback opportunities. Aryna holds from there, and that's the match, really, in a way.
I think the sets were decided by 2 different things. It's just decided by Sabalenka coming out the blocks super fast, super well. She won 8 of the first 9 points, and she won those. Zheng didn't do anything wrong. It was just Sabalenka came out firing, and then Zheng settled, kind of shadowed Sabalenka for the rest of that set. Got herself out of trouble a couple of times, maybe missed some opportunities. No, Sabalenka, I think, saved them more than Zheng missed them. Zheng didn't really make an unforced error that I was commenting on until like the point where Sabalenka went 3-love up in the third.
Yeah,
and then the second set.
It's that game where the forehand went into the net. I remember,
but that was like right at the end. The second set, that was decided by Zheng double faulting from one end of the court, and maybe if I was impressed, I'd probably be asking, why is that? Were you having trouble with one end of the court? But I do think the second set, that was Zheng having 2 bad games that cost her that set. So set 1 was Sabalenka being brilliant and Zheng shadowing her, and then second set was Zheng giving Sabalenka a couple of breaks, which Sabalenka took full advantage of.
Yeah. Good point here as well from Gil as well about this. When you return to an environment and you play in an environment, you do, weirdly enough, get confidence from that. You're staying in the same hotel where you were a year before, for example, or you have the same routines, and you walk onto that court, you see your name on that entry into the court, and she'll see it twice, of course, come next year. I do think it makes a difference either to you or even your opponents too, so whether it be Rafa on Philippe Chatrier or Novak on Rod Laver, and obviously Iga is building an aura as well at Philippe Chatrier too, as I see Craig Tiley there. Looks like a man who's sort of at the end of a tournament director role after 2 weeks. I remember you spoke to the tournament director in Birmingham, Nick, and he said it was quite difficult to sort of enjoy the tennis at times because you're kind of doing a million things at once.
Yeah, exactly. And I imagine it's doubly hard for anyone who's running a Grand Slam. To be honest, there's so many different elements you've got to think of. It's not just scheduling tennis matches. There's, all the hospitality aspects. There's looking after players and whatnot. Looks like the trophies are on their way at the minute, and Yvonne Goolagong's going to be presenting the winner's trophy to Aryna Sabalenka. I think Shahiri's got made a couple of good points in the chat. Which is if Zheng had broken back in that first set, it could have been a very different match. Yeah, maybe
that was the key.
Maybe maybe Sabalenka would have still won in straights, but that first set would have been a lot closer.
I was going to ask you, Bianca, something about... Oh, yeah, Bianca, we did a poll, or I did a poll a few days ago, maybe a bit more, maybe a week or so ago. Who was more likely to win a second slam, Sabalenka or Daniel Medvedev, funny enough? And I was sure that it was Sabalenka that was going to get to the second slam, and Medvedev was a don't know. Well, be interesting to see how the next 24 hours goes, of course. Yeah.
Yeah,
but for me, with Sabalenka, because she's got 4 shots at it every year in a way, 3 definite shots at it, and she's arguably the best player in the world, give or take. I don't quite agree with Owen's take on it in that she is the best player in the world. I still think that this is her first title since Madrid, by the way,
which is crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Runs to not get one since then is
yeah. I mean, even the semi-final against Jabeur as well. Jabeur was just amazing. She was just amazing that day. So again, you can lose to Ons at Wimbledon for sure with your pride intact, I think.
Yeah. Although you then are wondering why Jabeur didn't crumble against you like she did in the final.
I don't get Jabeur sometimes. Like she did, she did all that in the semifinal only to. Anyway.
Yeah. But we're not talking about Wimbledon, Australian Open. Yeah, I think in terms of the match, like other than getting tight in the last game, Sabalenka didn't do anything wrong. Like she was brilliant the whole time. She executed her game pretty much to perfection.
Yeah. Very low unforced errors. Serve was great. She didn't make a single double fault.
She adds her name to the list of women who've won a Grand Slam without dropping a set.
Yeah. I still think we didn't quite see Zheng's best today, but I'm not sure that would have made a huge amount of difference in terms of the overall outcome.
Yeah, I was going to ask the question, do you think, based on today, that Zheng has the level to compete for Grand Slams? Because based on today, I'm not sure she does.
I mean, maybe it came a bit too soon.
Yeah,
it came a bit too soon. I mean, she's still young. I remember her sort of breaking out, as far as I'm concerned, when she pushed Iga at the French a couple of years ago. That's basically the only person I think who pushed Iga that year, because I think it's the year that she beat Goff in straight sets in the final. It just came a bit too soon for her. Maybe she comes up against a slightly different opponent. I think a final with Coco would have been a fun final because of the clash in styles. Yeah. And I think that could have been more competitive just because of the differences in how they are. But once it was Aryna in that final, I must say that I didn't come into this final with a lot of hope that we were going to get a classic like we had a year ago. I don't know whether you were as confident as that, Bianca.
I mean, I was just nervous. Yeah. That's how I was coming into this match.
This is a scoreline that sort of sounded right to me before the match got underway.
But I think Zheng, she has clear things that we can see if she improved, how much of a dangerous player she would be. Like if the first serve percentage was, say, as high as maybe Aryna's was in the first, like throughout the entire match, she was winning some good points once she had that first serve in.
The 2 points here from Eddie is also what I touched on earlier. You know, she takes one of those 3 break points and she doesn't hit so many double faults, and there we go. She's talking now, actually. Let's see what she's got to say.
Yeah.
At the same time, I want to say thanks for all the fans who come here to watch me. And
bless her. She'll be back. The thing is that you just don't know when. It might be another couple of years. It might be 5 years. I don't know. But there's obviously some improvements. I noticed that quirky serving style during the United Cup. And I don't know whether you can radically change it. I mean, it's effective, except when she was double faulting today, which is a bit like saying the captain of the Titanic did a great job apart from the iceberg. But Nick, that you didn't want to laugh at that little joke?
It deserves a grin.
Too soon, Nick thinking too soon. It's too soon for Titanic jokes. Another couple 100 years. Anyway, yeah, so I did fear the worst in a way, that I thought we might get a fairly comfy win. And also because of what can go in your favor. Listen, if you're the underdog, you might go, well, experience. Take Medvedev tomorrow. He's obviously far more experienced than his opponent in Grand Slam finals. You know, what else can go in your favor? Maybe you're fresher coming into the final, or you've got something else. You've got crowd support, or all the variables that you were looking at were kind of... So Aryna is the form player. Aryna had more experience. Aryna knows this, you know, Aryna, there we go. By the way, I saw that comment from Sherry. Good, but I don't know if it's original. I think it might have come from somewhere else. But the Rod Laver Aryna is certainly a nice phrase as she heads onto the stage to collect her award. She was relaxed. She had this perfect combination that I said that I thought she would eventually garner after winning that first Slam title a year ago. She would have this perfect combination of being both relaxed and motivated. We see it with champions that sometimes they dip afterwards. You know, Dominic Thiem being the prime example, where maybe they weren't quite as motivated in the months that followed. We also see other people that are just too tense. But she's got this perfect combination of being so motivated because she wants to make her mark. And now she's a multiple Grand Slam winner. And no surprise at all.
Absolutely not. No. Especially given that she's been competing for 1,000 titles since she was a teenager, or very, very young in her career, like early 20s, 21. I'd say that sort of she's one of the 4 most successful players in women's tennis in the last 5 years, along with Swiatek, Osaka, and Barty. And I think she does deserve to be put in the same category as those players. Coco's coming up and will probably be in there too soon, but by which point sort of the time period is shifting. But certainly if we look at sort of last 5 years back to AO 2019, I think we can safely say that those 4 players stand out a little bit more when you look at the results.
Calendar Slam, I mean, it's a long way off, but she's the one player on tour, I think, that can do it. Not just because she's won the first one of the year, of course, so no one else can do it. But, you know, even Iga, I think that for her across the 4 slams is a bit of a bigger ask, because I think going into the French Open right now, a lot can change, but Aryna goes into that tournament as second favorite. Going into Wimbledon, she's probably favorite. Going into the US Open, she's favorite. I mean, give or take, as long as she's healthy, she has a chance of winning all 4. But I'm not saying she's going to, but I'll be surprised, to be honest with you, if she doesn't go on to win maybe another Slam even this year.
I mean, let's see who else also emerges. You know, it's not just about Iga and Aryna. Coco's in the mix.
Yeah.
I think pretty much every Slam, actually.
She'll be solid. I just don't know if she runs into Iga or Aryna, whether she'll ever be the favorite in that match.
I think it'll be joint. It'll be close favorites. I don't think she'll ever have a matchup edge, but like, I don't think her performance against Aryna in that semi-final was bad. I think it was a very fine margin match. Same with the US Open final. I think Coco's got the tools to frustrate the best players in the world. And then also Rybakina. Rybakina's still lurking out there, and we don't know what kind of, you know, tournament she has, really. You know, Blinkova was able to capitalize against her having a bad day this Australian Open, but if that hadn't happened, maybe it would have been Rybakina in the final today. Never count her out. I mean, look, we saw the way she dismantled Sabalenka in Brisbane. I'm trying to think of other players I would put in the mix, but yeah, those are the 4. And then what does Osaka do? Does Osaka get back to where she was?
Yeah. Aryna has just said something that made her entire team crack up, so I'm going to see what it was.
But without you, I wouldn't be able to achieve so much in this sport. Thank you so much for everything you're doing for me. I'll just keep repeating the same that I'm saying on each speech. So thank you so much for everything you've done for me. I mean, without me, you wouldn't be that good as well. You know?
Without me, you wouldn't be here either, or you wouldn't be that good as well. Okay, I got it. She is very funny.
Yeah, she's charming. Her speech was good.
Yeah, I've only ever come across her in press conferences, but she is pretty charming. I will say that. I do have time for her, and as there are. I mean, Iga also has charmed me with just by being so nice in Madrid to sort of speak to us, even if it was 1:30 in the morning. So I have time for both players. But she makes me giggle. That's for sure.
Aryna's got a great personality. Really enjoy.
Yeah, definitely. Bianca, what do you think about this sort of? She could get back to number one. I don't know how far she is off Iga right now, and she'll obviously have to make a final, I guess, Indian Wells. But
I don't think she doesn't gain or lose any points right now, so I don't think she's any closer to the world number one as before. But I mean, we'll see how she goes throughout the year. She's been consistent in the semis, but I feel like we need consistent titles, more than 3 titles this year. That I can't believe 3 titles is the most she's ever won in 1 year. I don't know. I feel like Iga's ceiling when she's on, I mean, we've seen it like the 40 match winning streaks, the 6 titles. Like I haven't seen that from Aryna yet. So I do think in some aspects, Iga definitely still deserves to hold on to the number one spot.
So this is her run to the final where she just, she's dropping 5, 6, 11, 16, and 26 plus 32 games. Yeah, not bad. Take a bow, Aryna Sabalenka, Australian Open champion of 2024. And as I said, I think there will be more to come. Nick, does this spook you a little bit as an Iga sort of sympathizer, or is it like let battle?
No,
it should spook him.
No more than like I'm no more spooked compared to what Sabalenka to where she was before the tournament. Sabalenka we know Sabalenka can beat Iga Swiatek. It's probably her turn to win their next match. I don't think she's more of a threat than she was before. She's about the same. She is a champion. She's a magnificent player, and deserves to be treated with the same amount of respect to whether she's got 1 or 2 Grand Slam titles. Just to confirm, she is 875 points behind Iga in the rankings. So, given that she's defending, I think
Indian Wells
final, like it's not really. I don't think world number one's going to be a massive factor unless Iga falls, like just goes on a losing streak.
Isn't there a 1,000 tournament in the Middle East coming up?
There's 2 of them.
Yeah,
2. Oh,
yeah, Doha and Dubai. They're both 1,000s now. They used to alternate, but now they've both been upgraded to 1,000 in the same year. They're going to go back to back. Iga has won Doha the last 2 years. Got to the Dubai final last year. Wasn't well against Pegula. No, Krejcikova. It was Krejcikova. She wasn't well.
Yeah. Nick. Yeah, you don't take away too much from my friend Barbora.
Having said that, Krejcikova, she beat Pegula and Sabalenka at the tournament as well. Like that was Krejcikova's last brilliant run, as it were. I
mean, Aryna would probably have to win her next 3 tournaments, something like that.
Essentially, yeah. Like that's gonna have to Aryna's gonna have to be like unstoppable for the next couple of months to get it. Now, I think world number one's on the line at Roland Garros.
Yeah. If she can make the final, for example, or Iga doesn't win it. Yeah, but anyway, that's still to come. Just reflecting on this run that she had, and just easily the best player in the tournament. I thought, but going into the tournament, that Rybakina, of course, would end up being a threat to both her and Sabalenka, because of course the Rybakina thing was sort of building because of what happened in Adelaide, was it, or Brisbane maybe. So it was like, okay, she could be the woman to beat, but then suddenly she goes out early, and we all talked about Iga's travels. But yeah, let battle commence, Nick. And we didn't quite get the final of last year, but as I said, I kind of feared it. There's a good question here about Zheng from Jake. Nick, you can give your thoughts, and Bianca too, and then I'll add my.
I feel like Bianca's thoughts are going to be more relevant than mine, but I would say that, to be honest, the answer is don't double fault. Get Gavin, the biomechanics guy, on the phone. That's what she needs to do.
Also, I think maybe moving forward, but also implementing the drop shot more. The maybe 2 or 3 times she used it, the match, it worked. So I don't know why that wasn't a part of the game plan.
Yeah, that's a good point. For me, I think this experience will help her the next time she's here, and I do think there will be a next time.
Yeah.
When and where, I don't know. I also just think that the whether that was the anxiety today, but some of her, I think Nick was being kind in those first 2 or 3 games. I thought the first 2 games she did look anxious, winning just 1 point from 8, or sorry, winning 1 point from 9. Then she has the chances at love 40. You know, there's a forehand into the net in a fairly neutral rally. So yes, maybe a little bit of anxiety or some technical issues on the ground strokes there, but that's taken nothing away, of course, from Aryna, who was just comfortably the better player on the day and a comfortably better player throughout the tournament. And remember where we were 13 months ago, or no, a bit more than that, with Aryna, with the yips and the double faults and the anxiety. And is she going to go on to be a sort of David Ferrer sort of best player to never win a slam? Well, we're now at a situation where she's been in 6 Grand Slam semi-finals in a row. Is it, Nick? US Open all the way through? Yeah, I think it.
US Open 21, US Open 22. Yeah, it's 6.
6.
I know,
so she's made the semi-finals or further. She's been in 3 of those 6 as well, and she's won 2 of them. I mean, that's just, if that doesn't convince the doubters regarding her temperament. And there's a very interesting article on Tennis Abstract about actually how she is a bit more solid in tense moments than people realize. But anyway, yeah, so there we go. Any final comments, Nick, before we wrap this up?
No, I don't. I think we've said all that needs to be said. I think Aryna Sabalenka, as the tournament progressed, was clearly going to win it. I had my doubts after Brisbane. Clearly, at the minute, Aryna in Australia can only be stopped by Elena Rybakina. And I guess she's going to be the heavy favourite when we come back round in 12 months' time. But fortunately, we're not Australian. So our tennis calendar does not revolve around the Australian Open. We're back on time zones, baby.
5:30 a.m. is for me right now. I did go to sleep very early last night, so I'm not pooped, which is good. But I'm not sad to bid this time zone goodbye.
I woke up, can you believe this, at 2 a.m. Not because I was pumped for the final or anything like that before people, but I woke up at 2 just because my body clock is getting weirder and weirder. The night before, when I think it was Sinner and Djokovic started at about 4 a.m. my time. Or no, it was earlier. No, it was 1 o'clock. I think I went to bed at like 6 p.m. or something. And a similar thing last night. And actually, I was editing the Steve Flink interview, and I just couldn't finish the edit because my eyes just couldn't stay awake. Not because of Steve, because he was very entertaining, but I was just so tired. And as a result, I think I fell asleep again about 6 p.m. last night, woke up at 2 a.m. Of course, I'm quite lucky the next couple of weeks, though, because on the ATP Tour, we have Rio and Buenos Aires, which is basically the same time zone as me. And Indian Wells won't be too bad, although actually I'll be in Europe during Indian Wells. But yeah, but Bianca and by the way, have a spare thought, as somebody mentioned on Twitter the other day. Have a spare thought for the Australians and the New Zealanders who now have 11 months of horrible tennis viewing experience.
Very fair.
Yeah.
Up until the Asian swing.
Yeah, I guess. But even the Asian swing is probably not. I don't think it's great for them. It might be like the US Open is for us. But anyway, do hit that like button. Do subscribe to the channel if you're new. Give Nick a follow on Twitter, which is, what's your handle, Nick?
At Nick_B Carter.
So there we go. I always remember the _BC bit because when I first put Nick in, I get about 1,000 different Nicks when I'm trying to tag you on Twitter. And I don't know why I keep having Bianca Talks Tennis when I try to tag you, Bianca, but it's actually this address, right?
Yeah.
Bianca _ is it Peterkin or I've never actually asked you this. Is it Peterkin or Peterkin?
Peterkin, yeah.
Peterkin, there we go. All right, cool. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're new. Nick, I'm sure there's a WTA weekly in the pipeline. I think we were talking about Monday at some point, so that'll happen. There'll be an ATP weekly, of course, probably the same day. And we obviously got the men's final still to come. There's a video out there of me chatting to Steve Flink, previewing that final, but also reflecting on the semi-finals, which were pretty massive in their own right. for various different reasons. But anyway, Bianca, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. It was a great watch, clearly.
And of course, Nick, as well. Wonderful for you to join us again. It's your second consecutive Australian Open final. Here, I think it was you, me, and Miles. Was it last year? Or you, me, Miles, and Ashley? I think could have been.
It was. I think it was. Yeah, Ashley was on it.
Yeah, I think Miles too, or maybe I'm wrong with that. And it was me and you for the French Open, and
Mm-hmm.
US Open was you and Tom, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah. I need to complete the career Grand Slam.
Yeah, I think you missed Wimbledon. I can't remember who did that. It could have been me for all I remember.
I need to do Wimbledon. My friends need to stop getting married around July.
It might have been Jack and I for Wimbledon final, but I don't remember. I know I did Alcaraz on my own, which the Alcaraz Djokovic final, which sounds a tough ask because it was like 5 hours or something, but actually it was just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So yeah, there we go. All right, listen, thank you, Tennis World, also for stopping by, and you know the drill.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.